Welcome to the UAN Accounting Bank Reconciliation class. My name's Tyler. I work on the support line. I presented this material live in an online class. In this class we're going to do just our simple bank rec where we clear some payments, some receipts, clear our adjustments and reinvested interest, and we'll be able to reconcile with no problems. We also have a more complicated bank reconciliation, and that's in another version in the other screencast. So if you're looking for that more complicated version with our Excel worksheet, please refer to the other screencast. In this one we're just going to go through a simple bank rec and go through each tab step by step compared to the bank statements. So the menu path to get to your bank reconciliation is Accounting, Transactions, Bank Reconciliation. I've already created a bank rec for our class with a data set that's ready. We did use an actual client's data, and we have their actual bank statements, online statements as well, for their checking account and their investment accounts. Of course, we had their permission to use their data. We asked ahead of time, and we've blacked out any sensitive information on all the statements. And as you can see, we have just test data here, UAN Township, Franklin County. So any sensitive information has been blacked out. We wanted to give you as real life example as we possibly could. That way you can compare it to your everyday work when you're reconciling your bank rec at the end of the month. Normally you would come in here and just add a bank rec and then choose your as of date. Because I've already created the data set and I've already cleared some payments and receipts, that way we're not taking as much time on our screencast, I'm just going to open the bank rec that I've already started and hit the edit and post button. So we'll give our bank reconciliation screen some time to open up here. So here's our bank reconciliation screen. We've got the Bank Statements tab that we're going to start on first. We're just going to work our way down through each tab until we get to the bottom. Hopefully we'll turn this red X into a green check mark. So on our Bank Statements tab, we're just going to look at all of our bank statements that we have from the bank. We'll have them all in front of us, and we're just going to enter in the ending balances on each statement. Now, I've already got these statements provided, so our first bank statement balance we're going to look at is our checking account. So here's our checking account balance. Go ahead and scroll down here to the ending balance at the end of the month, and as we can see, it's $452,528.98. So I'll go back to my bank rec form and enter in that balance straight from our statement. We'll do the same thing for our investments. So here's our money market account. You go to my investment statement. And my most recent investment statement is as of 2/14. Now we're reconciling as of 2/28. This is our most recent statement. Because we're reconciling all our investments, we realize you may not get monthly statements. That's okay. Just reconcile with your balances from your most recent statement. A lot of you get your statements quarterly, so you'll have the same balance for 3 months, and then that balance will change after the quarter. That's okay. Just enter in your most recent balance. So our most recent balance for our money market account is $195,762.19. Our super saver accounts obviously on this statement as well. As you can see, I've got everything highlighted here ahead of time, so it's easy for you to see. Your investment statements may look a little different than what we've got provided. Keep in mind, we're just trying to give a real life example here as best we can. So we've entered in our bank statement balances. I'll go ahead and minimize that screen, the investment screen, and we'll come back to that later. We do get our current bank balance down here at the bottom. And once you get your bank statement balances entered in, you can move on to the Primary Receipts tab. So on our Primary Receipts tab, I think the easiest thing to do is to move this screen over just a little bit and maybe make it a little smaller so we get almost a side-to-side comparison. Now on our bank statement here, anything that's cleared in blue, I've already cleared in the software. As you can see, there are some receipts that have already been cleared. I tried to match those up in blue so it made a little bit more sense. What we're doing here is we're going to compare the credits on our bank statement to what's cleared on the bank, and we're going to clear that in UAN. Since I've already cleared some of the credits in blue here, we're only going to look at the credits in white. So our first deposit from February 5th, 2013 is in the amount of $1,600.20. We go back to our bank reconciliation, and I'm looking for a receipt in that amount, and I don't see a receipt in that amount. Well, that's because the bank only includes the total deposit amount. You could have multiple receipts that make up that amount. This is a pretty easy example. You can do the math here and see that these two receipts equal that amount, which is $16.20. So we're going to clear both of these receipts. If you wanted to avoid having to do some math on your bank rec form, when you actually enter the receipt into UAN, there is a deposit ticket field. If you do enter a deposit ticket in the deposit ticket field, when you enter in your receipts, it'll group the receipts together on your bank reconciliation form like the bank would as one credit. We'll move on to our next credit that's cleared the bank statements, 464105. We see we've got a receipt in UAN, so we'll check the box and clear that receipt. Same thing for our next credit in the amount of $96,500. We see that's in UAN, so we'll check the box and clear that receipt. Looks like that's all our credits in this section, so I'll go ahead and scroll on down. Our next credit's in the amount of $807.95. We see that's cleared. 2134.03. And our interest receipt amount is $419.96. We'll clear that interest receipt as well. One thing I wanted to point out down here, the bank may lump together your total credits and the interest amount. We've separated those amounts out. Every bank's going to be different. So once you get down to the bottom, you'll see you've got your cleared receipt amount in UAN of $157,027.57. If your bank separates the interest and credits out, you just do some simple math, which I can do for you. So we've got $156,607.61 plus $419.96. And as you can see, our total amount of credits will be $157,027.57, which matches UAN. It lets us know that we've reconciled our receipts and we're ready to move on to payments. So I'll go to the Payments tab, and we'll scroll back up to the top of our checking account. We see our first debit on the bank statement that's cleared is this IRS tax payment. We don't have a check number here, so this must have been a voucher, or in the old system we call it a charge. In the new system we call it electronic. We see this electronic has cleared the bank statement. We're going to check the box and say that it's cleared. We do need to clear our electronic payments in UAN. We also have a prior year warrant here from 12/16/2012. The reason I know it's a prior year warrant is obviously because of the post date, and we voided this because the checkbox is available to void. When you void a prior year warrant, you do a fund balance adjustment. If I check this as void because I know that I voided it, I'm going to go ahead and go to primary adjustments and clear the fund balance adjustment that I did as well. That way I don't forget to do that. So we can trace this back to the check number. We know it was a fund balance adjustment for voiding a prior year warrant. We know the amount, and we just check mark the box as void on our payments. Now we can just go through all of our debits and cross-reference the check numbers to what we have in UAN and clear the debits from the bank statement that have cleared on UAN. So our next check is $19,583 in the amount of $100. When you're clearing these off, you want to cross-reference the check numbers and the amount. It'll be easier that way just to, if there's a bank error, a posting error, or if you posted something in UAN incorrectly, it'll be easy to spot that mistake. Our next check's going to be $19,620 in the amount of $208.79. I'll clear that. $19,611 in the amount of $281.17. $19,554 prior year warrant for $150. Looks like all of our debits here at the top of the screen. Scroll down and we're going to clear out the rest of our checks. 19,663, 19,629, 19,640, 19,659, and I'm going a little quicker here because I think you kind of understand the gist of what we're doing here. 19,642, 19,612, 19,647, and finally 19,634. Before we move on to the next tab, we're going to compare our total debits, which is $60,845.60, to the total cleared payments in UAN. It looks like we're okay. We match. That means we'll move on to our primary adjustments tab. We already cleared it out, our voided prior year warrant. We also have a fund balance adjustment we need to clear of $3.74. That was another adjusting factor that we had carried over from a primary bank reconciliation from the previous month, and we're not going to worry about that other adjusting factor right now. We did a fund balance adjustment to correct that. If you watch our next screencast in the complicated version, you will see why and how we cleared that fund balance adjustment out. For now, in the simple version, I'm going to check the box and we're just going to clear it. Our next tab is Secondaries and Investments. What is this Secondaries and Investments tab? Well, if you have investment transfers, checking transfers, those are automatically going to clear on this tab. Also, if you post interest to an investment, called reinvesting the interest, you need to clear the interest receipts on this tab. Those receipts aren't going to be in the primary receipts tab because those interest receipts are posted to your checking account. As you can see, we don't have any more interest receipts that we haven't cleared except for the $419.96 that we already cleared in primary receipts. This interest receipt is going to be located on our investment statement. So I'm going to minimize our checking account statement, go back to my investment statement, and as you can see on our money market account, here's our interest that cleared, $58.18. That amount is correct. We'll go ahead and clear that investment receipt, and as you can see, we got our green check mark, which means we can reconcile. I'll go to reconciliation and post. We have a zero difference, and we are ready to go ahead and post print. Now, just to show you the balance comparisons tab, if you did not reconcile, you could hit this plus button on any of the accounts, and this is just an easy way to cross-reference all the transactions in UAN to your bank statements. You can do the same thing for your investment accounts as well. Also, with the other adjusting factors, if you need to enter another adjusting factor and you know what it is, go ahead and enter that in and make some notes on what that is so you know what you're carrying forward to the next reconciliation. We'll talk more about other adjusting factors, how to enter those in UAN in our more complicated version in the other screencast. So I'm going to go ahead and post print. I'm just going to print it to a PDF. I don't have a printer hooked up to this computer. I'll say that the item has printed successfully, and here's our bank reconciliation report. It'll list all of our outstanding payments as well. If you need to access the bank reconciliation report after you print it off, you can go to Accounting Reports and Statements, Bank Reconciliation Reports. You can print it from here, you could display it on the screen, as you can see. Don't forget our frequently asked questions field down here in the bottom left, how to add and post and print a bank rec. This is a walkthrough on how to post and print a bank reconciliation form. If you have any other questions, please feel free to contact UAN support at 800-833-8261. You could email us at uan_support@auditor.state.oh.us, or you can contact us and look at our UAN user notes on our UAN link website. We do have a UAN user notes that was catered directly towards the bank reconciliation that we released earlier this year. Hopefully our screencast today got you through just a simple bank reconciliation. If you'd like to view a more complicated version, we have another screencast and an Excel spreadsheet attached on the UAN link website as well. So feel free to watch that screencast. Thanks for your time.